What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Confidently Flawed. Your hosts, Brooke and Danny, to give you the secret sauce. And I tell you what, Danny, I don't know about you, but everywhere I go right now, everyone's getting sick. Everyone I talk to is getting sick. I don't know if it's some crazy contagious bug that's going around, but I feel like left and right I'm looking and everyone is getting sick. And so I figured we would address not only how to stay healthy and how to keep your immune system strong with the sicknesses that are going around, but it's kind of perfect timing as we are really moving more into spring to talk about allergy season. I know I specifically have horrible allergies and have really been able to in a way, I mean, I'm not saying I don't have allergies anymore, but I've been able to find some things that help me during allergy season not feel so miserable. So let's take this episode and just kind of share some tips and tricks of keeping your immune system strong. And I think that what a lot of people don't understand with our immune system is, while yes, our immune system keeps us strong from, let's say, contagious bugs like influenza or strep throat, whatever that may be, but it also keeps us strong with our allergies. Your allergies is a direct reflection of your immune system. And I have found supporting your immune system not only helps you not get sick, but it also helps you with the allergy season. So, just some quick, simple tips and tricks from health and wellness fanatics and professionals. We're not doctors. We're not here to tell you that, don't go get checked out if you're sick and all of that. We think that's really important to address, but we're just two passionate people about health and wellness and figured that a really good health and wellness routine can make an impact on your immune system.
Yeah, for sure. You kind of mentioned with allergies and like how you've been able to, like, just in general, like help with a lot of that stuff. I had such bad allergies growing up. They were so bad during the summer. And I still do at times get them kind of bad, but they're not nearly like they used to be. And I used to get it like multiple times throughout the year. Now I only get it more like one time a year. So it is interesting as I've progressed in my ability to be aware of my body and take care of my body, that how much some of that has subsided. I used to get bronchitis multiple times a year, every
Wow.
single year. And I haven't had bronchitis in 20 plus years. Well, I was also smoking cigarettes at that time too, so that probably didn't help. But
Yeah.
health and wellness podcast, here you go, right? Smoke
Yeah.
cigarettes. No. So yeah, it's funny to me, like it's so logical, right? When you improve your health, like things get better. But like just seeing it firsthand and like how sometimes you don't like I didn't even think about the bronchitis thing until I just thought of that. You know what I mean? Like that I used to get it so much and I never get it anymore, because I'm healthier, So yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of things that people can do. So maybe some like quick hitters, like we'll bounce off of each other. Of like, what are some little things that people can do? I think for me, the first and foremost is do the core things that you know are going to get your body as healthy as possible. Not even directly associated with proactively fighting off sickness or your immune system or your allergies or anything like that, but just get your body as healthy as possible with proper diet and exercise, right? Like if you do that, that alone is going to put up a big barrier from you from getting sick, right? And your ability to recover from it if you do get sick. So, first and foremost, for me, do the basics, right? Before even getting into any advanced strategies, do the things that are for sure going to get you healthy, like proper movement every day, 30 minutes, even if it's light, getting in some strength training and getting your heart rate up a little bit more a few times a week, followed with the proper diet protocol, like eating healthy foods, balanced foods, lots of protein, not having carbs by themselves. We've probably said that 1,000 times in these episodes, but that's going to affect your blood sugar, which will affect your immune system, right? So, just eating well so that your gut bacteria is healthy, where most of your immune system is created, right? So you're eating well, your body's going to be well, and that would be my first kind of tip, is make sure you're eating well most of the time and exercising regularly. Brooke, what
Yeah.
about you? What do you got?
Couldn't agree more with that. Movement is so important. And what a lot of people don't realize is, especially if you're not feeling good, you don't have to go to the gym and like go lift a bunch of heavy weights. One of the best things I found if I'm not feeling good is get outside and go for a walk. Just get your body moving. That's going to get your blood flow moving. And just the sedentary lifestyle is one of the worst things you can do when you're sick, which I know when you are sick and you are in the pits of it, all you want to do is lay in bed. And yes, that might help you. Rest is good for sure for your body, which we talked about last week, sleep, the importance of sleep. but it's also important to get your body moving and to get that sunlight. And that's kind of what I want to share for my next tip is sunlight. The sun provides healing components like you wouldn't believe. And yes, we live in Michigan, and yes, our sun is sometimes gloomy, but it still helps. It doesn't need to be the Florida 100 some beautiful degree sunshine. Like the sun is so incredibly powerful, and we are not utilizing enough. Use the sun to help you feel better, and that's a huge reason why I do think going for walks is another reason why it's beneficial for your immune system. Not only are you getting your blood flow, your everything's just activating, your heart rate's getting up, things are working, but then you're in the sunshine and that sun beaming. And take your hat off. We both have hats on right now. Take your hat off, take your sunglasses off, like let your skin absorb the sun. Vitamin D is the only vitamin that our body actually can produce, and it gets produced from the sun. So when you activate the sun rays, the sun will in return start to build vitamin D, and vitamin D is a wonderful vitamin for our immune system and for overall health. So my next tip I would definitely say is look at the sun, get in the sun, be in the sun. You can shoot for at least 10 to 15 minutes a day. Bonus points if it's first thing in the morning, because what that's doing is it's helping your circadian rhythm, it's helping your cortisol patterns, it's helping your hormones. And when we have happy hormones, when we have all of that that is thriving, we also have a thriving immune system.
I like that, Brooke. I would much rather have the Florida sun though. I'm all for that kind of game.
Yeah.
But and I like my hats, man. Don't make me take my hats off. I love my hats. No, that's really good. I think the what comes to mind for me is kind of piggybacking off of last week's episode in the evening routine is get your sleep, right? If you get good quality sleep consistently, go to bed at the same time every night, wake up around the same time, get and just get a better sleep routine, and getting a higher quality sleep is going to go a long way for your immune system. Your body's going to be able to recover. Your body's going to be able to fight off any viruses, things like that going around. So get in your sleep. And I'm not even going to sit here and say, because I know some of you guys really struggle with sleep, that you have to go from sleeping 3 hours to 7 hours, 8 hours, right? Like, is that ideal? Sure, but at least just find a routine and find a strategy, or just get more consistency, or stop scrolling YouTube shorts like I do, and just find something that's going to work for you, so you can just get a deeper sleep at least. So even if you're only getting 3 hours, at least that 3 hours is going to feel better than your interrupted sleep, or regulated sleep, in terms of like when you're going to sleep, when you're waking up, and all that. So definitely improve your sleep or work on your sleep routine. Will make a big impact for your immune system.
Yeah, I sleep is one of the most important things that anybody can do. So I agree with that if you can get your sleep. And if you feel like you're someone that doesn't sleep a lot, there's nothing wrong with napping either. I heard you one day say on this podcast, Danny, that you went into your car one day and just took a 10-minute nap. And it's like that's something that you can do too. If you're like, I don't have time to nap on your lunch break, go take your lunch break in your car, eat or sleep for 10 minutes, then eat, or eat and then sleep, whatever that may be. But get some rest. Like that's super important. Another tip that I would say is stay hydrated, but the right way. I think people are very aware that you need to drink water. I don't think that's a secret for anybody. I think everybody knows you should be drinking your water. The problem with too much water consumption, though, is it can dehydrate you. So I highly recommend to, yes, make sure you are drinking water. There's a lot of people who are not drinking enough water. And for every coffee that you drink, for every soda that you drink, for every other crappy drink that's on the market that you have to drink, you should have to triple your waters, because believe it or not, coffee dehydrates you more. Sodas and all that sugar dehydrates you more. So make sure you're drinking your water, because that is going to hydrate your body, hydrate your cells. It's also going to help with bowel movements, and bowel movements are critical for your immune system as well, because it's a way to detox all of the toxins. But piggybacking off the conversation of making sure we're not drinking too much water, because when we are drinking basic water, it's dehydrating you. I highly recommend striving of putting salt in your water. And it doesn't need to be all the salt in the world to where you're like, oh, that's so gross, but enough to where that salt is in the water, because that salt will actually help bring the hydration, bring the water to your cells and to actually be absorbed into your cells versus just peed out. And what happens is when we're drinking too much water, when it's literally just getting peed out, it's taking vitamins and nutrients and minerals with it. So if you can have that salt, it's going to absorb into your cells and it's going to hold those minerals and vitamins in your body. So if you're feeling like, especially you're starting to feel under the weather, or everyone around you is getting sick, put salt in your water, making sure it's a good quality salt and not table salt. That's a whole nother episode we could maybe go into, is like what's the good and what's the bad salt. But that's another tip that I would have, is hydrate, but make sure you're hydrating with salt water.
Yeah, that's good. You know, I think just the electrolyte imbalance that people have, especially if you're taking the first tip I said, and exercising regularly, right? Sometimes you can deplenish those. So I think that's a really good, response. And sometimes we don't always get the nourishment that we need through food, right? It's just there's a lot of nourishment we need, especially if we're active, all these different things. Or the opposite, if we're not eating well, right? We're definitely not getting nourishment. So here's one that's maybe even easier for people to do is supplement, right? Like if you need to take certain supplements, I know for me in particular, when it comes to my immune system, I take two direct ones that affect my immune system. I take other ones that indirectly affect it, like the sleep one I've talked about before, that I take 90 minutes before bed, the Prestige Lab sleep. I take that, which indirectly helps my immune system. But the ones I take directly for my immune system is a high quality multivitamin, one that's not synthetically made in a lab, right? Is it better to get all your stuff from foods? Absolutely. But sometimes that just doesn't happen, right? So I do it just as a little bit of an insurance policy to help me maybe fill any of the missing gaps. So a high quality, more food-based multivitamin versus synthetic one is can help. Also, I do greens powder. I just don't always like. I'm confidently flawed, right? Like I don't always get my veggies in like I should. So what I'll do is I'll try to get some extra prebiotic fiber, which is going to help my gut. Okay, and that will help my immune system as well as just give me the antioxidants and things like that to fight off any things going on in my body that just the sickness and things of that nature, that if I just take a greens powder, it helps to put up that barrier for limiting and fighting off some of these sicknesses that can be going around right now. And I generally don't really get all that sick, right? So the other one that I would recommend as well, and Brooke, you probably got some good supplements as well that you can recommend, but is a probiotic. Probiotic is going to fill your gut with healthy bacteria, which again I've mentioned a couple times already is where a lot of your immune system is built. So if you have a healthier gut, if you're eating better, you're taking supplementations, you're doing probiotics, you're also doing prebiotic fiber, you're more than likely going to have a stronger immune system.
Yeah, when you were saying that, I'm pulling up these statistics and numbers because I just saw this the other day and I was like, I have to bring it up because I I get a lot of people who tell me, "Oh my gosh, you take so many supplements. Like you eat so healthy. Why do you do both?" And I used to be a huge advocate for like, yes, supplementation. Like you don't need it if you eat healthy, and supplementation should never be an excuse for a bad diet. I agree with all of that. But the more and more I have studied foods and nutrition, like nutrients and minerals, it's just not there anymore. And I read the statistic and I want to read this. So, an orange from the 1950s was full of vitamin A, precious for our eyesight and our immune defenses. To attain the same amount today, the same amount of nutrients from an orange that was in 1950s, you need to consume 21 oranges compared to one. Onions and potatoes no longer contain any trace of it. And I'm going to keep going. The iron content in meat divide by 2 since 1950s. Calcium in broccoli divide by 4. To ingest the vitamin C contained in an apple from that year, 1950s, you would have to eat 100 today. So it's just crazy. And it has a lot to do with just our soil. We have so much that's going on in our soil, and we could go down that rabbit hole of just the pesticides and what's being sprayed on our crops. But our soil is just not as mineral rich as it used to be. And because of that, it is directly connected to our food supply. Our foods are not nearly, I mean, look at those statistics right there. Our food is not nearly as nutritious as it was back when. And 1950s isn't even really that long ago. I mean, yes, it is, but for the numbers to change that much. So while yes, you should still eat healthy, you should absolutely be supplementing. No questions asked. If someone's looking at you telling you that you are supplementing too much and you blah 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 blah, it's like, okay, no, I'm just not trying to be mineral deficient because we all are. There is so many reasons why illnesses and issues. I mean, even look at pregnancy. So many women are struggling with complications like preeclampsia, gestational diabetes. And I'm not saying it's 100% because we are so mineral deficient, but it's a huge component for it. We just aren't being nourished the way we used to back then. And so supplementation, without a doubt, should be something that you are doing. Some supplements that I definitely recommend. Number one, always making sure that they're the most bioavailable forms. For example, 44% of the population has a gene break called the MTHFR gene mutation, gene break. And that basically means that 44% of the population cannot digest folic acid and turn folic acid into the usable form in our body, which is 5-methylfolate. That is a very, very, very powerful B vitamin that we all need. The problem is we are told that B vitamins are good. Folic acid is a synthetic B vitamin, so that's in a lot of our vitamins. Well, 44% of the population can't absorb it, can't methylate it. So your body is actually not only has a surplus of folic acid, but it has a deficiency of folate because your body can't transfer that. So making sure you're getting bioavailable forms to the human body of all of these minerals and vitamins is super important. So making sure you're getting good B vitamins, making sure you're getting a good D vitamin and zinc, especially in the winter months when, there's a lot of stuff going on. Prebiotics, absolutely. A prebiotic is great, or you can make your own sauerkraut. And if you make your own sauerkraut from organic crops, you're going to get a probiotic that's like 20 sometimes stronger than a general probiotic supplement. So that's something to definitely take into account. And to lower your sugar intake. I guess that's what I'm going to say my next tip is to lower your sugar intake. Sugar fuels off of sicknesses. There is a direct connection between the sugar intake you take and sicknesses and even cancer. There's a lot of research that's coming out with cancer research that's connecting sugar intake to certain types of cancers and how that cancer actually is spreading. So just making sure you're limiting your sugar intake. And while yes, we think sugar, like we think the basic sugars of, donuts and cookies and all of that, but there's sugar in everything else. There's sugar in our carbs. There's sugar in our breads, our flours. There's even sugars in our plants. So making sure that if you are not feeling good or you're being exposed to something, try to lower that sugar intake. That will make a huge difference in just your overall wellness.
That's fascinating, Brooke. Like the stats that you said, that's crazy. Like I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was that bad. Like one per now 21 oranges or 100 apples, like that's nuts and that's crazy. Like and think about this too. Like you mentioned, you and I are probably like amongst like the 1% of like how we eat. You know what I mean? And like,
Yeah.
and we supplement like crazy. Like we
Yeah.
like I take so many supplements every single day because I just want to live a higher quality life. I want that edge. I want that little extra boost or things to make sure I'm performing at a high level. Like keep my body composition in check, to sleep better, have more energy, right? So I can have mental clarity and performance. Like all these different reasons help my immune system, right? So all these different things, and we eat really well.
Mhm.
Most of the people out there don't eat great. Even if they try to be conscious, they're missing so many things. And now you just added those stats, like that's even more imperative to make sure you're supplementing, right? So
Right.
definitely agree with you there. Definitely agree with the sugar intake that wreaks havoc on your immune system. I know for sure myself, I definitely have a sweet tooth. When I'm eating more sugar, like during the holidays, is the time that if I do get sick, it's generally during that time because I'm loading up on all the holiday cookies and things of that nature, right? So I definitely can agree with you there, but I think, I mean, that's a lot of stuff that you can start
Yeah.
doing. And maybe you're not doing all of that, right? But find one or two things, maybe the two biggest bang for your buck things that you can implement and just start there. If you're somebody that gets sick a lot, like start doing something, right? But it's just about having a plan and being proactive about getting sick and not just waiting until you get sick and then trying to hoard it off by resting and medicine and things like that. Like how much nicer would it be if you get sick all the time to just not get sick all the time, right? Like that'd save you a lot of time and effort and energy there. So I don't have any other pressing ones that I think I can share, Brooke. I don't know. Do you have anything else that you want to share?
I just not any tips, but there is something else that I want to share that's almost kind of contrary to everything that we're talking about. But I also just want to say, don't fear getting sick. If you get sick, you get sick. And I think sometimes we can get so hard on our bodies for like, we feel like we're a failure because we got sick. Like, oh my gosh, like what, I wasn't doing like getting sick is a good thing. It builds your immune system, it makes your immune system stronger. So if you do get sick, like don't run away from it. Don't try to suppress it. Don't try to, do all you can. Like your body will run its course. And I had a holistic health practitioner. There was a time where I was getting really sick all the time, but I was getting sick and like literally the next morning I would wake up fine. And she goes, it's your health is not a matter of if you get sick or don't get sick. It's how you're healing and how you're coming out from it. So take that into note. If you are someone who does get sick a lot, see maybe how fast you like are recovering. And if you're noticing that you're getting sick and it's lingering for 3 weeks, then it's something's going on in your immune system that is not letting the illness or whatever it is going on pass. So that could be an extra reiteration to you. Okay, maybe I need to add these, changes that we talked about in this episode into your lifestyle. So while yes, we don't want to get sick, nobody likes getting sick, but I just also do want to share it's okay if you get sick. And in ways, it's good. Our bodies need that. That's how we build antibodies. That's how we fight. That's how our body is activated to do its job. Our body is designed to heal. So letting it heal is super important. So just felt it was really important that I shared that.
Yeah, for sure. Very good point. It's you're even if you're the healthiest on the planet, you're still probably going to get sick, right? And that's okay.
Mhm.
There's a reason you're sick, right? But hopefully you at least got some value from today of like some proactive things you can do to limit the amount or the time frame that you are sick and just start living a better quality of life. So if you found some value from this, guys, share it. Especially this time of year, a lot of people are dealing with this, so it could be valuable for a lot of people. That's all that we ask. We don't do ads, promotions, things like that on here. We just want to share our good content and help our health, our passion for health and fitness with you guys, so you guys can live a higher quality of life. And as always, we're here for you guys. So if any tips, anything like that you want to hear from us, let us know. And as always, if you can share and give us a rating and review, we greatly appreciate that. And until next time on the next Confidently Flawed podcast.